What's up guys, hope you're doing great. This is your boy Kobe Shots, and in today's video you're going to look at how I retouched these pictures from looking like this to this to this and this to that. Let's get right into it. So first of all, just as I always do it, I start my color grading in Lightroom, then into Photoshop through dynamic link. All right, so what I have opened already is my Photoshop, which is set ready when I'm done with the color grade. So let's get into the develop tab and let's begin with the color grade. So if you look over here, you're going to see Kobe Shots preset pack, which has been provided down via a link. Go in the description, go click the link and go download the preset, and you're going to have the beauty color grade, which looks like this on these pictures. I'm going to also leave the images down in the description so you can also download them and give it a try. But if you have any photograph or any shoot that had some foliages back in the background, you're gonna really enjoy this preset because it really works well on greenery. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing that I noticed in all the three pictures from the beauty color grade preset is that I noticed that the skin tone looks a little bit more green, or it has yellows with a lack of magenta. Yeah, basically. So that's what we are going to actually fix. So once we fix the first one, which is this one, we are going to transfer or copy the settings into these other two and see if they fit. If they don't fit, of course, photographs have their own characteristics, depending on the color pertaining to the scenery, pertaining to the lighting configuration and all that. So we'll take a look at that, and if we need to make some tweaks, we do that before we go retouch the skin and add a few more tweaks to the color. All right, so let's begin. So with the first image, obviously, or before, like we said, you notice that the skin looks a little bit more to the green side. So we are going to definitely fix the tint just a little bit towards the right, and you notice that it actually affects the background. Okay, so once I set it all the way to the right hand side towards more of the magenta, it gives me this kind of warmth in the greenery, which I think doesn't look bad at all. But for some reason I'm geared towards the left hand side, which furthermore intensifies the faults that we see in the skin tone, which we can fix in this way. The HSL tab, go down there, you're gonna find the hue, saturation and luminance. Okay, so we're going to start with the hue. Of course, we definitely know that in skin tones we have yellows, reds and orange in there, and that's what the software actually recognizes as the colors or the hues found in the skin tone. So that's what we're going to target, the orange and the yellow. All right, so starting from the orange, we are going to push it all the way to the left. Always remember that you're on the hue, because the saturation is obviously going to boost the saturation of the skin, which is not what we are going for, but we are looking at the hue, and the luminance obviously will intensify or brighten the skin. All right, it gives it a little bit more exposure. Okay, but we're going to go to that after we're done setting our hue. Okay, with the orange, we're going to push slightly to the left. Yes, like so. I think I kind of like how far it is, but I feel like there's a little bit, or should I say pretty much a lot of saturation in there, so I'm going to reduce it towards the left. Okay, I think we have a good skin tone. Yes, good. Now push the luminance towards the right and bring back a little bit more saturation slightly. Good. I think I like what I'm seeing so far. All right, so now you're going to notice that the greenery in there looks popped, but yeah, I kind of like to push a little bit further to intensify its visibility. So I'm going to push it that way, a little bit more of the yellows, which affects of course the green in there. Green has the qualities of yellow in there as well. So I'm going to push it slightly that way, and you notice that the skin tone looks too bright, so I'm going to reduce it slightly to make up for it. And yes, so basically this is before and there's after, before and after, and this is a tremendous improvement. I would say the preset works so well in such an instance. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to transfer the attributes or the properties in here, the settings, into the rest and see how they fare. Okay, so copy settings, then I'll transfer it here, paste settings, and see how it looks like. Okay, so this particular picture needs a little bit more work. So what I'm presently seeing is that I need to push it to the the blue side, or the temperature, or the white balance. And of course the skin tone doesn't really resonate well with me, so I'm going to go to the hue and push it further to the left. Yes, and the luminance towards the side a little bit more. Good. Then the hue of the green, I'm gonna play around with it to see what we can do. Okay, I think the luminance needs to come a little bit lower. Yeah, so it doesn't take too much attention from the skin. Gonna push the orange towards the right slightly. Good. Then we'll go back to the temperature, bring it all the way down to the left. Okay, so if I look at before and after, yeah, I like how far we've come. Gonna push the saturation of the skin to the right a little bit more. Yes, then we'll go back to the hue and push it this way. And I feel like we've opened up the shadows way too much, which is kind of like breaking down the picture in my opinion. So I'm gonna push it back this way to add more contrast to make it feel natural. Okay, yeah, a little bit of the whites, open up slightly, and back to the yellows, pushing down and bringing in more magenta to the skin. And I think we're good for now. Yes, looks good. Then with the same properties that we had over here, let's transfer that to this image. Okay, so presently I think I like what I'm seeing, but the greens kind of like pop way too much. It has a little bit more warmth to it, which I think I can reduce its temperature to the left, and I kind of like what I'm seeing so far. Now let's work on the skin. Okay, so the orange of the hue towards the left, and the luminance will open up slightly so you can have skin pop like that. A little bit of saturation. Yeah, because the light was coming from this direction, of course it hits the closest object, or part of my subject. It's more in the highlight, so let us reduce the highlight slightly and bring in contrast to make it pop, and whites towards the right, and we'll play with the blacks like so. Let's play a little bit with the temperature. So you shouldn't be scared about tweaking and trying out different ways you can actually settle at a particular point where you like your pictures to be. So yeah, I like how the greens are playing in there in the background. Comparatively, think kind of loving this kind of tone, so I think I'm gonna push the temperature to the left to get something similar with this one as well. Let's see how they look. Do they look alike? Yeah, they look alike now. The same thing can be done for this image as well, towards the left. Yeah, now the green pops. Beautiful. So notice that I always go back to do something if I feel like I want to push something that appears better in one photo than it did in the previous. Okay, so don't be scared to always go back. All right, now I feel like the skin doesn't pop anymore because we pushed the temperature towards the blue, so it affects everything. Now I notice that the skin is getting, you know, too much of the greens again. So with the use of the hue, we're gonna push the orange towards the left, then the luminance, open it up slightly so she pops. Good. Probably the saturation just a little bit. Good. I think this looks way much better. So does this, and so does this. Okay, maybe a little bit, yeah, that way. Get over this saturation. Beautiful. All right, I love the images so far. So let's begin with the retouch. Okay, so now we are in Photoshop. All right, all pictures in here. All right, so beginning with this photograph, I'm gonna go down the actions. Down in the description again, I have the frequency separation action so that you wouldn't have to go through all those tabs and creating them. All right, so those layers are already going to be set for you. So I'm going to hit action, and I feel 3 works best looking at the size of the image and the camera that I shot on, which is the Canon EOS R. So 3 for this sort of image, looking at the focal length and how far I was from my subject. 3 is going to work just fine. All right, so yeah, my low frequency and my high frequency, which is the color information, as well as this being the texture. All right, so I'm not gonna bore you with this part. I have a video that's dedicated to, you know, retouching the skin. So if you want to look at it, kindly go do that. But for now, I'm gonna speed up the process for all 3. Then yeah, we'll come back and look at the rest. All right, so enjoy. Okay, so we've been able to take these images from looking like these to these. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video to the very end, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the post notification button, and remember down in the description below the Lightroom presets that I showed you and the frequency separation actions that you can use to foster or facilitate your workflow. Thank you very much, and until the next time, I'm going to catch you. Have a wonderful day. See you.